Augustus died the year 14. Caesar Augustus died the year 14. And you can see this in Luke 3 verse 1. Augustus died. In Luke 3 verse 1. Then there's Tiberius' rule. Who was the next one? If you look at Luke chapter 3, there was this account of Jesus' baptism and the beginning of his ministry. So you have all this accounted for. So the bottom line is Jesus was born either 3 or 2 BC. Okay? Either April or May. That's the best I can tell you now. He was not born December 25. Is Santa Claus real? Although John looks like Santa Claus sometimes, except that he's slim. Okay, get your materials. When I was talking about the stages of tasting and seeing the goodness of the Lord. You have it? You need it? Yeah, May 11. Please check. Make sure it's May 11. If it's not May 11, I'm not talking about it. Persecution of the church. Okay? This empty space. The death of the first Christian martyr, Saint Stephen. Okay?
Wasn't he the youngest?
He was the first Christian martyr.
And he was one of the 12 apostles?
No. He's one of the deacons. By the way, Cleopas was also one of the 72. He was one of the 72 that Jesus sent.
72?
Remember the 72 men?
Oh, okay, right.
He's one of them.
Okay.
He was one of them. Now, what did we learn? What did we learn in Luke 24? When everything seems wrong, when everything seems wrong, nothing goes right, when all the hopes have been suppressed, there seems to be no more hope. There seems to be no more way. As the song says, God makes a way when there seems to be no way. Right? Makes sense? That is the first lesson in Acts chapter 8. In other words, in the midst of persecution, in the midst of difficulty, that's when the church flourishes. Remember, the church has been in existence for more than 2,000 years. Right? Has persecution stopped?
No.
Actually, it's getting worse. It's not uncommon to hear about churches being burned or being attacked by Muslims, right? And that has been going on for some 1600 years. And yet the church continues to flourish. You know that? That's the idea. That's the bottom line message of Acts chapter 8, 1 to 8. In the midst of persecution, the church flourishes. Jesus says in Matthew 16, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will never prevail against it." How can they prevail against the church when this is the church founded by Jesus Christ? That's one of the things I told the Mormons. Because the Mormons believe in the general apostasy. You know what that means? The Mormons are saying, after the death of John, the last apostle to die, they said the church went bankrupt and totally corrupt. And the teachings of Jesus have been ignored completely, and man-made laws became effective up on top and over what Jesus really taught. And the term for that for them is general apostasy, until Joseph Smith founded the Mormon Church. And then the Mormons, this is the real teaching. Now we gather together again, the real Christians. But they don't believe Jesus is God. It's an absolute falsehood. You know what I told the Mormons? Are you making Jesus a liar? You know you just made Jesus a liar. You believe in Jesus? Oh yes, we do. Those elders in black and white, and they have this pin here. Elder, it says, two of them. Actually, the second meeting, they brought a higher up. A higher up. It's okay, I'll meet him. When? Where? Okay, let's meet. And they could answer. Are you saying Jesus is a liar? No. But you just said it. The church has lost authority, became morally bankrupt, and the teachings of Jesus were all gone. So what happened to what Jesus said? The gates of hell will never prevail against this church. And which church is that? The church that he founded upon the rock, Peter. Petros, meaning massive rock. You follow? So when you meet Mormons, invite them here. Invite them here. So that's the idea of during difficulties, that's when you grow. That's the application for you and for me. Do not think that persecutions should make you draw back. No. That's a time to move forward. That's a time to step up. Make those, what seem to be obstacles, turn them into stepping stones so you can reach higher. You understand? Those problems, troubles, what seems to be no way, don't worry. God will make a way for you to happen. I love what a very good teacher, a very well-respected teacher said. His name, Gamaliel. Have you heard him? Have you heard of him? No? Gamaliel was the teacher of St. Paul. Actually, the teacher of Saul. And Saul became a hardened Jewish extremist. Such that Saul wanted to kill all Christians. He wanted to kill all Christians. Find them, put them under lock and key, chain them, and kill them. To put a stop to this menace of Christianity. And Gamaliel was his teacher. But in the end, he became extreme, St. Paul, and Gamaliel was not in total union with what he was saying. And this is one thing that Gamaliel said to the Sanhedrin. You are trying to suppress, persecute the church. Do not touch these men. Gamaliel was talking. Do not touch these men. These men, the apostles. Because, let me tell you what. If what they're up to came from man, it will self-destruct. You know what I mean? They themselves will one day fight one another, and they themselves will destroy this movement.
Was he the one when Paul, King Paul, went to the blind man? Was he the teacher?
Gamaliel was the teacher,
yeah,
yes.
When Paul was blind.
Oh, no, that's Annas.
Annas, okay.
That's someone else. That's in Damascus. Yeah. So, and then this is what Gamaliel said. If this Christianity is from God, you will find yourself going against God. So you don't have to touch them. If this is of man, it will self-destruct. If this is of God, there's nothing you can do to stop it. That's what Gamaliel said. Very beautiful. Yeah. That's the story of Acts chapter 8. The Sanhedrin even said, instructed them, don't speak about Jesus again ever in Jerusalem. Stop talking about Jesus. And what did the apostles do? The more they were stopped, the more they talked about Jesus. I told you, problems should make you grow. Problems should not hamper you.
Well, had they not done that, we would never know the word.
We would never have known the word. Don't it make sense?
It does.
Psalm 66. Essentially, Psalm 66 is about thanksgiving. A rescued person steps forward to teach the community what God has done. That's the key about Psalm 66. Gospel of John chapter 6, the discourse on the bread of life. You know the story here. John chapter 6 is a beautiful, beautiful chapter in the Bible. You know why? It doesn't need interpretation. It's literal. What Jesus is saying is what he says. And that's what he means. I am the bread of life. He who eats my flesh and drinks my blood shall have eternal life. Literal. There's no interpretation needed. You follow? Inspiring articles. Why being merciful is smart. Last week I was talking about mercy. Divine mercy. Now we're getting presented why being merciful is smart. Are you merciful? Are you merciful?
More often than not.
When somebody dies, condolence. If you read Fulton J. Sheen's, he has this talk about sympathy, apathy, antipathy. I have that. We will come to that in another lesson. But here we have being merciful. And there are 7 texts here, Bible texts. Bible accounts where being merciful is being smart. Foremost is Matthew chapter 5. You know, the Spirit of the Lord, the Beatitudes. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And so on. And you have all these Bible verses for you. Next, where is Jesus between his death and his resurrection? There's an ancient sermon here from the 2nd century. It talks about that. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 18 talks about that too. Please get your catechism.
Hi, Mom.